Okay, here we at part 4. What you have to do is turn over the transmission to the backside, and the bolt that holds the variator assembly, you have to take each bolt out. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. You take each bolt that you see out, and then we're going to remove this variator assembly. Okay, now that the bolts are out, you have to lift up the variator assembly, and it's going to take you a little bit of time. As you can see here, the reason is there's something there called the follower, which is also on the Saturn Views transmission. The follower is a little stuck on the uh, left side there, and you have to maneuver it so that you can um, take it out. So it takes a little time. However, you can do that. But be careful because you do not want to break it. Okay, so now we have it out. You can move the variator assembly to the side. Okay, here's the follower here. These are the pieces. That's the follower. And what we have, you can set it to the side. Well, okay, you see it here. But once you get it, you can set it down. There is a spring and a spacer and a seat right here. Okay, now the way those go, you'll see this in detail as we start to reassemble this unit. But you'll see how they assemble together when you go to put them together. I'm showing you this right now. Okay, this is how it works. So put that to the side. Alright, now we're going into reassembly. Okay, here you see, as it written, we bought a used variator because the other one was too bad. And the only thing we're going to simply do is take this whole assembly that we have and put it in the back half of the case. Okay, this assembly here is what you would see when you click on the links. Not actually this one, but the one you click on the links, you will see how bad it really were. But now we position it because you have to put the follower inside. So I'll show you how to do that. Now what you're going to need is some transmission assembly lube or some Vaseline. The reason is you need to put this in and put on thick so that once you assemble this together they don't fall out, because you're going to turn this upside down. Okay, now when you see this follower, what you want to do is you have to press it down and it has to go underneath. You got to press the spring and put it underneath that variator there, the primary variator. So we'll press it down and hook it underneath. You have to do this without the pin because the pin is going to stiffen it up. So you may have to work with it a bit, but you can get it. Okay, push it down and under just like that. Is have to hook. Then after you get it hooked, then you take the pin and stick it down in. Alright, so now that you have everything together there, the next step is going to be to put this whole assembly inside the back half of the case. Okay, so you still see how that looks. I'm showing you some footage there. Okay, after you have put it to the side, you're going to have to put silicone on here. So what I'm doing, I'm spraying some brake cleaner around there to try to get as much grease off as I can so the silicone can stick. And I'm using black RTV silicone gasket maker. Then after you get that on, then you start to put the silicone on. And I'll speed this up for you eventually so that you don't have to worry about seeing me take my time to put so much gasket on. But this is what you have to do next, and make sure you cover all of the seams, because if it starts to leak you're going to have to find yourself trying to come up with a way to stop it from leaking while it's in the car, or you got to take the whole transmission back out, especially if you're doing it for a customer. If you're doing it for yourself, you may want to live with it for a while, but you eventually will have to take this back apart. So it's best to do it right the first time. Alright, now after finishing applying the gasket, the next step is to put the variator assembly inside, or should I say attach the variator to the variator assembly to the rear part of this case. And to do it, you will probably need to have somebody to help you, because you have to align it with the dowel pins properly, and it's not very light. And there's dowel pins on this side. We have to make sure everything is okay and you have the follower assembly, that pin has to fall into its proper slot. So you have to look at everything, and when you have everything aligned properly, it should fall down like that. Alright, after you get it in, the next step is to put the bolts in. So now once you put these bolts in, it's best to hand tighten them. Tighten them a couple of threads so that when you use the impact, you have no chance of cross threading it. Now just don't set them inside the holes and then use the impact. I've had where they have gone in crooked. So put them in, tighten them in, a couple of threads, then take the impact, and on low speed or low air pressure, tighten them up. Why? Because you don't want to strip any bolts. And the next thing after you do that is hand tighten them. And I like to do this because I like to feel how it's being tightened. That's why I like to hand tighten after I have snugged them with the impact wrench. Okay, after you have gotten that together, you're finished with the back half. Next you have to turn this transmission over to the front. And if you have already taken out the pump assembly, then it should look like this. Okay, once you get this situated, we are going to start reassembling the front half of this transmission. As you can see, this is not a hard transmission to do. Okay.